Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Newcastle... I can't speak. The Newcastle Podcast is what I was trying to say as part of GSPN. I'm your ever-efficient host. I'm Joe. Never screwing up. Always getting it right. I am with my boys, the OG3, as we often like to refer to ourselves as. Salute, boys. First up, we have Kev, the one that everybody loves to see, apparently. Is that right, Kev?
Is it? What?
Is it?
Did I say that? I think I might have said everybody's favourite on one of the episodes. I was just carried away. That's all it is. I've got to give myself some love because Ian keeps telling us I'm almost getting kicked off a team. So
who says
not
that?
Bad. What is very sad is, do you know when we used to build up the intros, right? It's pointless now because we're massive on YouTube. We've got like one huge Global Sports Podcast Network YouTube channel.
I know.
We'll have our own thing, so everyone can watch us now. So hello, everybody.
Hi. It's exciting times.
Good day.
We're also with, I was going to say...
They can see. They know Ian's here.
No, well, if they're watching, they can. So anyway, yeah, as a non-spoiler, it is the Don, Mr. Ian McKay. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much indeed, Joanne. As I said to the boys on the Southampton podcast, I'm in fine form. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have mentioned that to a Southampton fan. And they just laughed.
I thought you were doing that, Anton Decker. You're doing great. I'm doing great.
I was like, you're just doing great.
I'm doing great, Joe. Get it in the bag.
I mean, it's pretty obvious why we're here. We're here to discuss the Toon back on track after let's call it a blipper against Bournemouth. It was just a blip, wasn't it?
Look how good Bournemouth are.
It was a blip, man. Shut up. It's a blip. It was a blip for us. Bournemouth have been brilliant. All respect to them. I'll give them that. But we need to think of it as a blip because apart from a little bit of dominance that we might have let Southampton have for about 10 minutes-ish, not that. I would say that we're pretty on top for the full game, really. So, yeah, we'll just start talking about the game. No real schedule, lads. We're just going to go... Let's just...
So surely
that means going off a cuff.
That means I can dive in and say...
You can.
I'm not sure. It's just a blip. I think there's something far more deep-rooted in the complacency that Newcastle showed. First of all, in the way they coasted to victory to Wolves, and then eased off in the last 20 minutes and conceded a lot of chances which Wolves didn't take.
Oh, Ian, man, how are you?
Ian. Then played the whole game in third gear against Bournemouth and were spanked from the first minute to the last. And then yesterday started so slowly. Come on,
Michael. Is that you, Michael?
And then we did the same.
Hey, Michael's up here right now, man. He's like Mr. Positive.
He can do it. More positive than Ian.
But look, they made the subs. You took them, and then we just coasted again. And
let me just double check. We are fifth. We are 3 points off third.
I don't want
smashing. We're smashing teams left, right, and centre.
Kev. I don't want that to be the peak of our season's performance. I want us to beat Fulham. I want us to beat Arsenal and win that cup.
We will.
I want us to have a fighting. I want us to be making Liverpool and Manchester City and Arsenal shit scared when we go to play them away from home. Not thinking that it's going to be an easy, comfortable 3 points like it usually is for them.
I agree.
It's not going to be.
I agree, Ian. Everything Ian said is coming from a good place, right? So I'm going to let him off a hook a little bit. But I've said that not just Ian or anybody on this podcast, anyone listening at the start of the season when they were talking about performances and still picking up wins, there is no divine right or guarantee in this league that we will always play well. However, if we cannot play so good or not get out of third gear against the likes of Southampton and Wolves and still win, that should be celebrated. We should be happy. Come on, we're going to challenge. And you're right, Ian, we've got to give teams like City and Liverpool a game. We've still got the semi-final coming up, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. However, let's just enjoy where we're at here. We can only beat what's put in front of us. Yes, Southampton weren't great. Yes, they gave us a little bit of a scare at the start. But look, we responded well. We were 1 down. We ended up winning 3-1. Wasn't a fantastic performance, but come on, we're 3 points off.
But Kev,
we're banging on the door.
I agree entirely with what you're saying. If we play badly and win every game to the end of the season,
brilliant. Yeah,
I'm very happy. However, we started really well actually, but got knocked a bit off our trolley by a really soft goal to give. I mean, we defended really poorly for that, and then we were knocked off our stride for 10 minutes. We then We then step it up. We're then playing what I want to see us playing, which is in snapping, biting into the tackle, moving the ball fast. Scored 3 good, fantastic moves. Could have scored a lot more in the first half. Scored an excellent goal by Tonali. And then we just clock off again. We just think, well, that's all right. And that's when complacency and mistakes slip into the game. And the thing is that Southampton aren't good enough to take advantage of it. But if we get into that mindset that we're 2 up so it's easy, we can coast in other games, we'll come down to earth with a bump. How many teams this year have come back from 2 down to win 3-2?
But surely it was just because we were... I know it's no disrespect to Southampton, but surely it was just because we were playing Southampton and we probably felt that we could kind of coast that game out. We didn't... I wouldn't say we played poorly. I know what you mean about the coasting thing, because I was kind of hoping that we would kind of go for the throat a bit and get some goal difference on the go, because I do think it's going to be so important this season. I mean, look at how tight it is at the top. We were talking about it before. The goal difference, I think, is going to be a massive player. It could literally be the player between getting into the Champions League or not. It is that tight at the top, and it could easily, the rest of the season could go on exactly like that. I mean, we've just watched the end of the Villa game there. It's a game that they were expected to win, then they didn't. And then they nearly lost it in the last seconds.
Nicked it, yeah.
Well, there we go. So, it's one of those, isn't it?
What's important, you look at a couple of seasons ago when we got to the League Cup final. There was one eye on that final, and our form in the league completely dipped off. Nobody wanted to get injured. So I think part of it is when we're getting ahead, it's like, look after ourselves. There's a big semi-final coming up. I want to get to Wembley, which there shouldn't be. You're right. Yeah. And I'm sure Eddie will be addressing it. And like I say, anybody who knows me will know that I trust him 100%. But I think something's got to give. You look at our recent form, is it 10 wins in the last 11 now? Obviously, the Bournemouth game where everyone says they battered us, which we did, right? But 2 of their goals were in stoppage time. So it was
we were just really batter us.
We were throwing everybody forward. We did well. We did beat us well. I'm not going to take anything away.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say they battered us. To look at the game as a whole,
we've won 10 of our last 11. Something does have to give in these games where the players probably know they can win in third gear. I know it's disrespectful to Southampton in a way, but let's face it, we're talking about a team who's probably going to go down with maybe the lowest tally ever. So we're going to take Derby's record and make Sunderland go to third on that list. The only time Sunderland's ever been third in history, but it is what it is. And then literally it's a case of something's got to give. We've won 10 out of 11. I feel like we just need to enjoy the moment we're in. Ian's right. Well, I think when we play against Arsenal in the semi-final, we'll see a massive change of intensity. Yeah. And I used to have a problem with that when we weren't picking up the wins against the Brightons and the West Hams. I was like, don't just show up for the big boys and then lose to them. But they can just have that intensity against the big boys as long as they keep playing average and winning against the so-called not big boys. I wouldn't say smaller clubs, but I don't want to say smaller clubs. But we've got to be happy with where we're at. And I agree, Ian's coming from a really good place and an ambitious place of let's challenge Liverpool and City. And honestly, I would love to see it, but like I've said many times, there's no divine right to play well every game or to even pick up points in every game. Look what you just saw. Villa were expected to beat West Ham at home and they've dropped 2 points, which is great for us. But it is what it is. We just have to enjoy. We beat what was in front of us, and I thought overall we deserved it.
We did it. Like you say, we got the result, didn't we?
I don't mind if we just play a containing game and we retain possession and we control the hell out of the last half an hour without being ambitious at all.
Like we did against Tottenham, yeah.
Like we did against Tottenham, like we did against Manchester United. It's just a drop-off in concentration when they're coasting.
Yeah,
Southampton Wolves can't take advantage of that. But look, Fulham, right, at home next week.
Good team.
Yeah, but are we going to have the intensity we need to go and take Fulham on, or are we going to approach it like we did at Bournemouth and find that we're 3 behind before we can wake up and it's too late? That's what I'm worried about. They're not. It's not like they have to go every 48 hours and play with this intensity. They can 1 game a week. Mm-hmm. They must be able to get up for it. And the concern I've got is that certain players. Your boy Murphy was one in particular who just looked like he was coasting through the first half. And then he played a fantastic ball, which everyone concentrates on. It's great, fantastic ball for the second goal. But he did sweet Fanny Adams other than that. And I just think that's how paltry our squad is. There's too many people in the team.
Well, I think there's a few of them, I'll be honest,
whatever happens to start. And that takes the edge off them.
We have to remember, though,
It will.
Jacob Murphy isn't as good as what he's been playing, is he? He's just, like, he is.
Thanks,
we love
Kev.
him.
I feel like I'm the only one that's been saying that, Peter,
We
by the
love
way, because
him.
I know you all know
We
how
love
much I
him.
love him.
But the natural kind of, like, Jacob Murphy isn't like, we get conned, and as Newcastle fans, we get conned because Eddie Howe's coaching has us believing that Murphy, he's got like 8 assists, 4
Yeah.
Peak
goals.
Murphy right now, but it's amazing, man.
Something ridiculous. Like, he's nowhere
Enjoy the
near.
ride.
He's nowhere near 12 goal contributions in January in a He's nowhere near that type of player. But he will have a fall off. And again, Newcastle fans, not Ian, by the way, because Ian is sensible and he is coming from an ambitious place. But there is a lot of Newcastle fans who aren't expecting that some Newcastle fans, obviously not Ian, think that Murphy is now this like top 8 Premier League winger, and he's not. He will fall off. He will miss chances. He will get through one-on-one and scuff his lines. He will not put in great crossover, but that's okay. That makes it even better when he's playing off his head and he's terrorising teams like Tottenham and United. He's going to score a hat-trick against Arsenal in the semi-final to go 5-0 in aggregate. It makes it better when he does that because we know he's not that good. But look, I agree with Ian. We need to show up against Fulham. I mean, we haven't even discussed Southampton yet. We're talking about Fulham.
I was going to say, should we kind of? We'll take this. I'll tell you what.
Ian's right. We need to show up against Fulham with the right attitude. However, just enjoy what we're doing. We're absolutely battering teams at the minute. 10 wins from our last 11, and then watch us beat Fulham and then get to the final.
And that's what's going to happen.
I did enjoy the middle hour of that match. I did. I'm not having a go at the result or how they can play or any of the players. It's just, I'm just worried. Just worried that the coast
and
we have horrible results like the home defeats to Brighton and to West Ham, which were caused exactly by that. And I don't want, as I say, do you remember when we were sitting in 5th, level on points with Man City in 4th, and thinking that we were going to catch Nottingham Forest and Arsenal because they've got tough games coming up, and we end up 9th. I mean, I don't want that to happen.
We'll be sat second and
way too far ahead now, man.
remember when City were level on points with us, and now they're 8th and we're second, challenging Liverpool. That's what we'll be saying.
That's what I want us to say. That's what I want.
We're going to keep it happy. Anyway, I'll tell you what, I'm going to break you boys right now because I know I said we were going to go rogue, but God, we've gone rogue.
That was rogue. Let us know, listeners. Let us know if you like rogue episodes.
Yeah, we love rogue, man. Let's get real. Who's up first again? Sorry, Ian, go for it. Yes. Can I have the first ad, please? Thank you.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Ian. Right, we'll go straight into part 2, which really we're just going to keep talking about the game, and we probably should talk a bit more about Southampton, considering this is a Southampton review, and we've probably spent more time talking about future games. But
even we were complacent in this episode.
We've been so complacent. We've been like the team. I think the only thing I want to say on what Ian's just said, I didn't actually think we were that bad at first. I thought their goal, strange enough, gave them that kind of, they became a plucky, let's call them, for about 10-15 minutes. So they did have that kind of control. But up until they scored in like the 9th, 10th minute, whatever it was, I didn't actually think we were that bad. I think we were in control. We were looking all right. Their goal kind of came from their first attack that I can remember, if I'm honest. And it kind of just gave them a bit of a, well, hang on a second, tails up, we might be able to do something here. And it made us look a bit nervy. But I like to think of it as it might give us a kick up the backside that we needed to not really just take Southampton as like lying down type of thing. And then our penalty was a massive turnaround. I think even the players have acknowledged that. And you saw a massive difference, didn't you? I mean, our 2 goals after that, Isak's and Tonali's, was beautiful. I've loved watching that back. The way he gives the eyes to the keeper and then kind of hits it the other way. It's a proper striker's goal. And he's not even a striker. That's what's beautiful about it. But it was even like the movement leading up to it was just, that was my favourite goal. I think you can probably tell of the match. But if you want to slate, I'm not going to slate anyone, by the way, but if I want to kind of say who I thought was poor in that game, I think Big Joe did not have a great game, I'll be honest. And I'm talking probably overall. He did some good stuff, I would say, but personally, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I wasn't loving Big Joe the other day, and I usually love Big Joe, I've got to be honest. And Gordon was more of a better player in the second half. They're the two that I would want to pull out. I agree with what you have said about Murphy, by the way, as well. Again, but that's Murphy at the minute. He does some amazing things, and in a way, that's kind of all you would expect from someone who really is not, like Kev said, a top 8 right winger. He's not. He's just
He's
at
not
peak
even.
Murphy right now.
You could
And
argue
even
he's
I'll
not
admit
a
that, and I
Premier
love
League
the
right
boy.
winger.
But that's what I mean. But like, I'll admit that. You know how much I love him. But I'm not stupid enough to say that the boy's like a world beater. He's just at peak Murphy. He's having a great time. Him and Isak are just an absolute dream team at the minute. They're linking up in beautiful, aren't they, though? Come on. Some of the passes he lays off for Isak. And Isak acknowledged Murphy's mint pass as well for his goal. So, I don't know. How do you guys feel about the players that I've mentioned in terms of Big Joe or Gordon or whatever?
I thought Big Joe was quiet. I think when we were chatting during the game, that we were all watching illegally, but we were watching it.
No, we weren't. We all get given a nice little pass as we
Ian.
watch on the Premier League channel.
Obviously.
Do it?
Via China.
I can tell by your eyes you're making that up, Kevin, even though my headphones went off, so I don't know.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Right, I agree. We're saying Joe Linton needs subbing here. Let's bring Willock on. Let's bring Miley on. I know he's a great destructive force. We'll probably need that little bit of battling that was going on there and leave it up to Bruno and Tonali to pull the strings in a constructive, creative way. But I don't think that was the first game that Joe's been off it. I mean, he didn't do much against Bournemouth. But anyway, that's just an observation. The guy I thought was well off it, completely miles away from marking the guy in the centre for the header. Almost, for some inexplicable reason, missed his header to let them get through and score that offside goal 10 minutes from the end. Fabian Schär, and he is the worst offender when it comes to believing the press and thinking that he doesn't have to concentrate to continue to maintain his standards. He's got an error in him, and we saw one or two yesterday. So that's who I'm concerned with. I think it's got to be Burnham Botman when we play against Fulham and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Wow. Nah, no way. I can't sit here and I get it. It wasn't his best game. He's all right, but like that's one bad game, and we end entire season he's got.
It's true. I think Eddie will stick with him because Eddie doesn't drop people after just one game at the same time.
I know,
does he?
but his first bad game with the rest of them was against Bournemouth. This is what I mean.
But everybody had a bad game against Bournemouth.
The win might paper over the cracks, but it doesn't for me paper over the individuals who are off their main game that we have.
He's only played
better alternatives to slot in and
he's only played half a game since his suspension or injury, whatever it was. So he played half a game back. And Botman, look how rusty Botman was when his first 20 minutes against Spurs, and then everyone loves him again after his second game back. Like I just think we need to just...
after he played well against Spurs and against Arsenal. That's why everybody loves him.
Botman's first half against Spurs was, and I don't want to criticise Botman, but he
first 15 minutes was a bit rusty. I agree, and there were reasons for it. But there's not any reasons for Fab Schär had a virus 2 weeks ago. Come on,
he might still have a virus.
It's a virus, not bloody rabies.
Anyway,
maybe that's what it was.
Anyway, we won the game 3-1.
We did. We won. We won.
If people didn't realise we won, we're happy, really.
I know, I'm going to make sure people realise we won. I'm not going to criticise Joe Linton because he's an absolute man-mountain of a player who's been so consistent.
It's not criticising him, Kev. It's just acknowledging that he didn't have a great game. I love Big Joe.
He's playing against Southampton. Southampton are like the worst team in the Premier League by far.
You should have a bad game then.
Yeah, but if there's ever going to be a game you can have a bad game and win, they probably know it. They probably know.
I know he can, but I'm just saying he had one, that's all.
Something has to give after winning 10 out of the last 11. We can't. Something has to give. There must be. I don't know if I'm mentally tired. I don't know if I'm physically tired. I have absolutely zero idea what's going on. But I'm buzzing.
Apparently they were fatigued against Bournemouth. That's what they said. They were fatigued.
I'm not going to criticise Fabian Schär, who's been, for me, one of our best defenders of the last God knows how many years. He's had an off game. I agree. He's had enough
He's the
game.
finest specimen we've ever had in this team. It's
He's
fine.
had
Look,
enough.
we can
He's had
acknowledge
enough
this.
game, but I'm not dropping him. I would probably play Sean Byrne because it would have been great all season. Botman just has to wait his turn, I guess, after coming back from an ACL. And I wouldn't drop. I know he didn't say to drop Joe, but I wouldn't drop Myra. I just think, yeah, where's the positivity gone, guys? What's going on?
No, I didn't say drop him. I was just saying he had a bad game. It's all right. He just had a bad game. That's literally all I was saying.
Just carry on.
I didn't say drop him.
He
That's just silly.
decided he's that good. He's that good. He decided to have a bad game against the worst team in the league who can't even punish us for it. He's brilliant.
I'm sure that's what he did, Kev.
Exactly.
He thought, today I'm going to have a stinker because I can't be bothered. And they suck, so it'll be fine.
It actually goes back, on a serious note, it goes back to Ian's point he made at the start of the pod where there probably was a bit of complacency. But, like I say, they probably knew they could win that in third gear. And if Southampton got back to 3-3 and there was 10 minutes left, they probably would have upped the gears again and won it 4-3. That's how... I know it didn't look as comfortable as we wanted in terms of possession and making Southampton or give them a bit of belief at the start, but we probably were in control. We didn't really... third gear, second gear...
Kev, we were in control.
Really get out of it.
We were, however, not total control. I can remember an overhead kick that Dubravka made a fabulous save from at the start of the second half. And I remember a free header at the back post by the same player from the resulting corner.
Yeah,
that he was able to be in the right place to pick up. So total control means you're not giving up a whole load of shots on target to your opposition. We weren't in total control. It looked like we were coasting. And what my point was, please don't get into the habit that when you've gone ahead, you think you can just coast.
That's a good point. Because
that is when you then get turned round. Somebody scores 3 goals in 5 minutes and you are coasting. You can't step it back up again.
Yeah, that's good point.
That's the only point that I'm making. I don't want them to... And if they're going to be coasting in these games, that's a great opportunity to rest one or two of them. Have them on the bench. Bring some other players in who are going to be up for being picked.
I think you hurt my feelings when you said to drop Fabian Shaw.
I'll look after him.
He's got a rick in him. He's got a rick in him. And if he's
getting old,
if he's missing a header that puts Fulham through to win 2-1 in the last minute next week, we'll be wondering why Botman wasn't at centre half.
He'll step in, hit one from 45 yards to round it up 3-0 after his clean sheet performance.
I think Cher's reaction was interesting actually after missing that header because he turned around and he was just like, he had his arms
must have got a shout.
But I'll be honest, I don't know, did he give a shout or was he just, because he does acknowledge when he's done something wrong, was he more frustrated on himself that, was he almost admitting that he thought there was someone behind him?
I don't know. I think if he was admitting someone behind him, he'd put his head down and sprint back, but it was almost like a look of,
he had his arms up, didn't he? Like,
what are you shouting to leave it for?
Someone must have said something, surely.
Somebody shouted, maybe. I don't know.
It's all right.
Maybe it was a Bournemouth player shouted, keep us.
I think he was trying to flick that ball back with his head, and he just missed it.
Missed it entirely.
Maybe we should get him on the pod and we'll ask him.
I'm on that pod.
Right.
Right. We'll have to turn the cameras off.
I think Nick will be the other one as well, so good luck, boys.
Yep, we're not getting on that one.
We just aren't like. Right, I'll tell you what, Kev, can you give me the ad and then we'll finish up with a few other bits?
Absolutely. The Global Sports Podcast Network is changing the face of football podcasting with dedicated daily content for every Premier League team, women's football, and even a dedicated Premier League wrap-up. It comes in 5 different languages, and this is your one-stop shop for your daily football fix. Find the Global Sports Podcast Network wherever you find your usual podcasts.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Right. So, because obviously we've been very argumentative in a good way. I've liked it. It's good. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's fun, man. We're going to start and end this whole thing. Well, we'll start in part 3, but I'm going to end the pod positive and happy. So first up, I'm going to ask you, not for your man of the match, I'm going to ask you for your top 3 players, please. It doesn't have to be in any particular order, but if you'd like to give me them in an order, you can. So first of all, I'm going to go to Ian. And who are your top 3 players from yesterday, please?
Tonali, man of the match, pulled all the strings, scores a fabulous goal that he starts as well, by the way, and he's already looking ahead to making that finish. When he disrupts a player and knocks it out up to Isak, then he's on his bike. Tonali was fabulous. Isak is electric and completely on fire. He scores twice. He's got to be at number 2. They're close. joint man of the match, really. Dan Burn was very good once he got over falling over, I thought. But that's just him building up his player of the season reputation. I won't pick him as the third one. I'll give that to Martin Dubravka, because I think he made 2 or 3 really good saves that just get overlooked. He did it in the Bournemouth game.
Agree.
He made 3 or 4 brilliant saves, but because we got tonked, nobody mentioned them. Martin Dubravka has been a revelation since he came back into the team, and Pope might still be a substitute when we play whoever it is in the Carabao Cup final.
Well, we'll move on to that bit in a second, but what's very interesting, so Kev, I'm going to let you go last purely because I've literally got my players down as Tonali for the exact same reasons as Ian said, and yeah, he probably would be my actual man of the match as well. So I had Tonali first, I've got Dubravka second, and I've got Isak third. So we've got the same 3, which is very interesting. But again, Dubravka's in there with me because again, it does get overlooked sometimes, doesn't it? And strange enough, I had considered putting Burn in, but no, Dubravka for me, because I remember him pulling off some really, especially a couple of great saves in the game itself. So because I've picked the same 3 and for pretty much the same reasons as Ian, we may as well just cover that all in one. And Kev, I'm going to now move straight on to you. Have you got anyone different? Or
I've got 2 of the same 3. So anyone can imagine Isak and Tonali. I think they're undeniable. Especially there was a little turn we showed it on Match of the Day as well. He picked the ball up in like his own half and turned away and just created. Gordon stopped running, but yeah, Isak, really good performance. Tonali was fantastic. I absolutely loved Tonali's goal. It was the shoulder pass from Isak.
yeah,
Passed off his shoulder and Gordon just slips it through.
and the first time pass from Gordon, man, it was beautiful, wasn't it?
So yeah, Isak and Tonali I agree with. Dubravka, I think, has done brilliant. And I would absolutely, I agree with Ian, I would keep him in. I wouldn't bring Pope back in at all. However, the only thing with Dubravka, I have a tiny, it's actually a worry, a little bit like Ian's worry about us maybe not being able to up the gears when we need to. Dubravka, every time he makes a save, he parries it, other than the one where he tipped over the bar because it was point blank, he didn't have a choice. But he parries it back into a danger zone a lot of the time. And I'm starting to worry that clubs will do the research and they'll pick up that when Dubravka makes a save, if they follow in, they are going to have an opportunity. It's very, very frustrating for me. I don't know why it sticks out to me so much, because I love Dubravka. I think he's been fantastic, especially since Pope's been injured. But he does worry us sometimes. A couple of them saves, especially against Bournemouth, and who was the game before that? We kept a clean sheet, but he parried 2 or 3 back into a danger zone. Yeah. And I'm thinking, don't parry it back there. Just put it behind the post. So he does worry us a little bit. My third player was Tino. I thought Tino had a really good game. A couple of times he broke up some counter-attacks, but then it was mainly how good he was on the ball. His first touch inside his man or trying to get on the overlap. I was very impressed with Tino. And again, Tino's another one who, I don't know why, but I struggle to always be impressed with him, because I expect him to play really well all the time after when he first came to the club. I just need to calm down my expectations. I think he's still young. He's going to have bad games, but I thought he was very good against Southampton. Put in a very good tackle as well in the corner flag, where he literally went before the guy touched the ball. I thought, oof, he's going to hurt him, but he got a great tackle.
I think his excellent performances and excellent development gets overshadowed a bit because Lewis Hall has been so spectacularly good this season. But to be fair, when we were starting this season of podcasts, Kev, you've got Kieran Trippier to be our player of the season, I think. He's not going to play again.
Yeah,
I think gets injured, he's not going to get another
period, though, he got injured or illness, and Trippier came back in for 2 games and looked brilliant. And I thought, Tino's not going to get back in. And then Trippier got an illness, I think, and Tino came back in. I think that was the kick up the backside he needed, because Trippier came in and held his place for 2 games and then fell ill. Tino comes in and hasn't dropped the pace since. So I think them two are, well, I think Trippier is very good for Tino at the minute, because, like I say, Tino was dropped about, wasn't that long ago, was it? 4 or 5 games ago, Tino was dropped and Trippier was playing 2 in a row instead of him.
Did so really well.
I think actually what Ian said before, that backs it up a lot more as well. Tino got rested or dropped, and then he's come in after Trippier's illness and looked fantastic. So Ian might have a point with these, drop the players who aren't quite pulling away at the minute, and they might then come good again. Fair play.
Yep. Emil Kraft and Matt Targett to start against Fulham. That's what I say.
Oh dear.
Give Sharon Hall a bit of a rest. No, I don't mean that. I don't mean
Ian's
that.
gone completely wild now.
No, I'm concerned. I'm just concerned. When we were 6 games in a row that we'd won, and we looked forward, we'd done all those hard away games, and we won 2-0 at Arsenal. We said there's 4 games coming up where we can really consolidate. We need to get at least 10 points out of this 12. Now, we got 9, which is fair enough. And Bournemouth was the blip in that. The next 4 games is a completely different kettle of fish. Because after Fulham at home, correct me if I go wrong, I know there's some cup matches thrown into that as well. I think
Arsenal
we've got Fulham at home. We've got
Arsenal home.
Manchester City away in the league. This is we've
you're
got
not
Nottingham Forest at home, and then Liverpool away 3 days later. Now that is not a set of 4 games that I would be expecting that we pick 10 points up from. I think we can. I think we've got the team that means we can if we are on it. If we are on it and playing
That's
like
why
we
we didn't
can
get out
play.
of third gate, Ian. We know them games are coming up and we're going to save them.
Saving that energy, right?
Saving energy. Saving energy to take them on. We knew we could beat Southampton. We're back up.
Proof of the pudding is going to be coming up, right? I'm not worried about it because I know they're capable of doing it, but I don't want them to sleepwalk through the first half against Fulham and find out that's our best chance of 3 points in those 4 games. I don't want to get a home draw to kick it off with. That's all I'm saying.
Right, well, I think what we'll do is we'll wrap it up because we probably could start talking loads about Arsenal and Fulham games, but we've obviously got preview games coming up this week, haven't we? So on the review of Southampton, we'll not preview the other games just yet, boys. As always, it has been an absolute pleasure. But, exactly, I know we've covered everything in one pod, haven't we, really?
Just put this on for the whole week. Finished.
Shall I just put it on repeat every day? I shall break it down into sections. I would love to stay on the pod longer with you, but as you know, I've now got to go and have probably the most stressful watch of my weekend in watching the Redskins play in the championship, in the conference final for the first time. First time, people, for decades. And if we make the Super Bowl again, first time in decades. And if we win the Super Bowl, it'll be the first time since 1992, which is actually before I started supporting them, because I didn't support them until 2000. But I'm long enough. You're a new Eagles fan. We've had this conversation. This is not on. I've waited 25 years to watch this with the Redskins pipe down. You've only liked the Eagles a few years, man.
This is a preview of a wild card in Feb. Because Ian's the judge.
I know. I'm very confused, though, that Joanne is so committed to the Redskins because it's the Commanders against the Eagles, isn't it? Who the bloody hell are the Redskins? Are you living in the past?
The Redskins is what they were for 80 odd years until madness took over Ian, until PCBS took over Ian.
Well, I know that. I mean, they were the Redskins when I was playing.
Stop winding me up.
Everybody.
Stop winding me up.
On the 4th of Feb. Save it.
I was going to say we'll save it. I know, but Kev, I'm either going to be like living the dream by then, or I'm going to be crying because we'll be out. So I've got to try and enjoy the next few hours.
My Eagles are going to destroy your dreams in about 3 hours.
Your Eagles you've been an Eagles fan for I can count on one hand.
Joanne, you take my approach to the NFL, which is watch the game, be disappointed if your team gets beaten, and then by 10 o'clock in the morning of the next day, you've forgotten because it actually doesn't make any difference
but
whatsoever.
This is why, Kev, you don't deserve your Eagles to win because you don't care. I genuinely care if the Skins don't win tonight. I'm going to be gutted.
Goodbye, Commanders.
I'm not taking part in the NFL.
Adios, Commanders.
Anyway, I'm signing off, people, because I need to go and watch it. But one quick shout out to the lasses who also made a meal of their win today, but they did win. But they also are very complacent. So we managed a 3-2 win against bottom of the league, Portsmouth. But we won, right? So that's all that matters, just like the lads. Cheat. Cool, that's it. Lovies and leavies.
Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.